What do we call you, David? The artist, the
Oh,
curator, the
artist, you name it. You know,
owner?
all I know is I've got a lot of work to do. That's all keeps me happy. You know.
There's an outstanding museum here. In fact, arguably, from the museums I visited, one of the very best in the Pacific Northwest, I think, that I've even had a chance to see. And so David's going to walk us through it just for a little bit and kind of show us some of the artifacts you have.
I started collecting way back when I was old enough to drive. And I was, like I said, I was a carryout boy at Safeway. And I'd find this stuff being sold in Pendleton. And at that time, there was a lot of dealers that would come out of Idaho, and they'd come to see this stuff. Mm-hmm. And they would come and they'd buy this stuff and then turn around and sell it in Japan and Germany. And so all this really good stuff was getting shipped out of the United States, and it bothered me so much because, you know, when I found my first arrowhead and I was this big, you know, I wanted to preserve this stuff and not let it get shipped out to another country.
Having it exported.
Yeah. And so anyway, I went down, I had to make itsy bitsy payments on this stuff when I seen it because, you know, I lived in Walla Walla, so I could beat the dealers there to look at it. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't afford to buy all I wanted. And so anyhow, now that I did, the Indians come in here and they see it, and they now appreciate what I've done is trying to preserve what I have here and keep it in the state of Oregon where it was found. Yeah. You know, so they come in and they say, oh, you have the real stuff. This is wonderful, you know, what you've done. That's what I'm proud of, is the relationship between me and the Nez Perce and Yakimas.
Because these are real artifacts. These are the real deal.
This is the real deal, and there just isn't that much left. Yeah. People come in here and they offer to buy this stuff. I won't sell it to them. The history means too much to me. Yeah. It's not a piece of something you just sell from, you know, for a few dollars to somebody else and on and on. Okay. And I built this case myself out of old logs and put putty in between them. So, you know, I love building cases like this. I mean, in my mind, I have so many cases for my military floor, you know, like Normandy with real sand in it and stuff like that, you know. Then this this jacket here was given to me by Michael Wayne, John Wayne's son, as a gift when I opened the museum. And it belonged to
Steve McQueen?
Steve McQueen. He wore it in the movie Tom Horn, and there's a documentation for it and everything. And Michael Wayne just gave me that as a gift. John Bianchi, after I met him, he's the one that made John Wayne's gun that he used in True Grit, mm-hmm. and then he made one for me just like it.
So this gun here is like the one that John Wayne used in True Grit?
In True Grit, and John Bianchi made it and gave it to me as a gift.
We've reached the beginning of this floor.
Yeah, so let's go downstairs. Well, as you've noticed after I showed you the Indian floor, this is all, the museum is built in kind of a timeline now, and we're getting into the military history. And starting out here with the Civil War. And these two flags that you see here, I'm not sure why that one's the color it is. Unless it was just faded out by time. But they both hung in John Ford, the movie producer's office when he died. And so evidently he used them in films or whatever. And there's a World War I medical bag with all the medical stuff in it.
My parents have some of this stuff at our house.
You are kidding.
No, because my mother kept some of my grandfather's stuff. Mm-hmm. And that jacket looks very familiar. I have seen something similar to that bag
Uh-huh.
at my mom's house.
Oh, really? Hang on to it.
Oh my gosh. In fact, I think it's up in the attic in the trunk.
Oh, hang on to it. It should have that writing inside of it.
I know for a fact she has some of that older, some of the medicine that's in it. There's a kind of medicine they used to use, and I think it's World War I, they used it too. It was called, not mentholatum. It was red, and it dyed your skin red.
Iodine?
It had iodine in it,
Uh-huh.
but it had a different name, and it was for cuts and wounds, and it was that color red, and you would put it in a cut. My mom used it on me all the time as a little boy, and it would stain your skin for about 3 days.
Yes.
Oh man.
You know, I had two different kinds of types of people came in here. One time, several years ago, there was a fella that fought in the war. He was a photographer, and he had this great big trunk full of pictures that he was going to give to me. And he took one look at this Japanese clothing here, and he got so mad he stormed out of the museum, just terribly mad. His wife was so upset with him and everything, but he was in the war, and he could not stand to see these uniforms. And then the same day, a little old lady came in that lost her husband in the World War II. And she saw the uniforms, and she came up and said, "It's so nice to see those uniforms, because I often wondered what they dressed like." So, you know, you just can't make
please
everybody
everybody.
happy. This is not open, but I'll show you what it is. It's just this is when I started running out of room. I started to put this room and this room into World War II stuff, and I never finished it. But those are United States pilots' uniforms there. And this is British over here. British uniforms. And that's Japanese there. That's kamikaze uniform right there. And there's the Norden bomb sight over there. During World War II, the lead B-17 or whatever it was would carry one of those, and it was top secret. When they was through with their mission, they would have to take that in a satchel and take it in and store it in a security safe, because it was so important during World War II. You know, I do history. I like to do anything pertaining to history. That's why we bought this place, because of the historic significance here. You know, when it was legal, that's when I found all of mine and all my arrowheads and things, and that's where I got a lot of my ideas as an artist. You know, was walking around in the sagebrush and looking down, you know, a quarter of a mile to the Snake River, and imagining, you know, where the Indians would be camped down there. There's a little eddy here, or a point where they could fish from, and I'd walk down there, and sure enough,
Find something.
there was a camp there. Yeah.